Have you ever been out living your life, minding your own business, when out of nowhere this happens?
I threw my wish in the well. Don't ask me, I'll never tell.
Love, Victor delivers a winning half hour with its third episode, Battle of the Bands, in which people on both sides of the camera open their hearts up to having fun and taking chances. I'm talking about the actors, the writing team, the cinematographer and director, and everyone in Creekwood looking for love. This cast seizes on round 3 to deepen their shared rapport and our understanding of these characters. I can't throw enough praise to Anthony Turpel, who cements Felix as this show's Abed, Willow, and Fonzie all rolled into one, as he schemes to win Lake's heart at the coffee shop's upcoming Battle of the Bands competition.
I didn't know you were a DJ.
Oh, there's a lot of things you don't know about me, Victor. I sponsor a manatee named Jessica. I'm a meme in Japan. I make my own shampoos.
These little glimpses into Felix's off-screen life serve as top-notch character-centric jokes that elevate Felix from quirky best friend status to coming off as a fully rounded human with agency that extends beyond the needs of the plot. The writers clearly have a ball writing for Felix, and they seem to know that Turpel can make a good joke great, even a low-key one-liner like this one.
You getting a haircut?
No, I just got one.
By this point, the show has such a strong handle on who Felix is and isn't, they've turned his shaggy mane into a running joke. But Felix isn't the only one who starts to rise above his archetype. The writers make quick work of ensuring that Lake and Andrew amount to more than their respective sidekick and bully roles by giving them welcome shades of vulnerability.
I've spent basically my whole life being known as Georgina Merriweather's daughter.
And in this episode, Mason Gooding's thoughtful acting choices reveal just how brightly his torch for Mia burns.
Complicated. You won't tell her, right?
The bully with a heart of gold is a trope in and of itself, but over the course of the season, Cuba Gooding's son shows us the money when it comes to playing both the hard and soft sides of Andrew with warmth and a healthy dose of brooding charm. And Victor's family becomes more compelling to watch the more we start to see the cracks in their family dynamic.
Armando, we have had ramen.
Don't have it.
Yeah, we'll cover more of whatever's going on here in episode 4. Even Mateo Fernandez as Adrian gets to shine in a number of hilarious exchanges.
Can I watch an unboxing video?
Why do you like watching a stranger's hands take a toy out of a box?
I pretend the hands are my hands.
I tend to bristle at precocious little kid characters because writers tend to stick improbable grown-up dialogue in their mouths and present them as punchlines. But Adrian's contributions to the plot, while still Hollywood cutesy, feel right for the youngest kid in a household crowded with unspoken grievances. Fernandez makes you feel for this kid who's just jockeying for permission to do anything. As the cast and writing team continue to shed light on these characters, they get an assist from the lighting department. Cinematographer Mark Schwartzbard and director Pilar Boehm work hard in this episode to turn the psychological into the visual, offering up the most noteworthy aesthetic choices they'll make all season. They use the lush atmospheres of the art gallery and concert as opportunities to break out some super trendy, stylized lighting. With the show so far embracing some kind of sexually fluid narrative, it's only fitting that Mia and Victor share their first kiss awash in a sea of so-called bisexual lighting. Meanwhile, the red glare of the concert lighting underscores Lake and Andrew's tension-filled date. This air is made all the more thick with passions deferred as Felix rolls up in his third-wheel sidecar with his undying nerd crush on Lake. Side note, I didn't mind that Love Victor dipped into the DJ in disguise well to mine some quick and dirty laughs. The anonymous EDM artist is such an absurd 21st century specific trope that you can't blame TV comedy writers for being drawn to it.
And I may also find its predictability soothing.
Regardless, Felix's ill-fated show that's all daft and no punk gives way to this intriguing setup.
Because a DJ makes music into more music.
And callback.
I actually love DJs. They make music into more music.
Hinting that Lake might be down for a Fee-Lake duet after all. But the concert delivers its most impactful audiovisual moment when Benji takes the stage and Victor experiences something no less than an awakening. The act of listening to a performance and being moved by it is such an internal experience, and to portray such a moment for dramatic value requires thought and care. The lighting, staging, and acting have to align like stars to make sure that we feel what the character feels, and that the scene remains tonally cohesive with the rest of the story. Cinematographer Mark Schwartzbard paints Victor in high-contrast chiaroscuro lighting that looks peeled right from the playbooks of Caravaggio and Vermeer, and Cimino sells the oil painting vibes with his sensitive, imploring stare. And after slowing down the background extras, here's one of Turple's many instances throughout the season of giving us a hilarious Felix moment on the sidelines without pulling focus. Director Boehm deploys this delicious love story chestnut of emptying the room, transporting the character to another state of consciousness altogether. These aesthetic choices coalesce to great effect, underscoring the seismic shift happening within our lovelorn hero. It might be hyperbole to play up how cinematic this moment is.
Brilliant, incredible, amazing, show-stopping, spectacular.
But there's no denying that it's the season's most purely sensory moment, and I hope that future seasons of Love, Victor incorporate more of these stylized visual aesthetic choices that magnify the character's interior transformations. Speaking of which,
What's the deal with you two anyway?
yeah, where does this head over heels moment leave Victor and Mia? And 3 episodes in, it's worth checking in on this question: exactly what kind of queer narrative are we watching anyway? Gay, bisexual, pansexual, something in between? Victor wants to know too. I appreciate that this depiction of sexual orientation research was framed by the show as a healthy and even fun practice, as opposed to the tone of abject fear that's accompanied similar scenes from other contemporary queer stories. Victor happily reminds Simon, himself, and the viewing audience that
Sexuality is a spectrum.
and so I took this scene as yet another hint that the show wouldn't be satisfied to settle on a neat and tidy binary like straight versus gay, but instead tell the more complex story of a teenager coming to terms with his sexual fluidity. The episode appears to offer a notable shift from other teen coming out narratives that I've seen. In Degrassi, closeted Marco Del Rossi has zero physical attraction whatsoever to his girlfriend Ellie. And in Love, Simon similarly breaks his bestie Leah's heart when she realizes that he's 100% gay and there's 0% meant to be. By contrast, the show makes an intriguing move in qualifying Victor's attraction to Mia, not erasing it altogether. Sure, Simon as Victor's mentor drives the point home. Victor might like Mia and feel butterflies when he kisses her, but dainty butterflies are perhaps no match for what Simon calls fighter jets at the Super Bowl. Still, the story compares fighter jets with butterflies, not fighter jets with nothing. On my first watch, this writing choice gave me hope that Mia's arc would amount to more than simply being strung along by a guy who has zilch romantic interest in her. After all, we're 3 episodes in, and I gotta say that Victor's scenes with Mia have up till now contained more chemistry than his one-on-one scenes with Benji. Take for instance this after-hours encounter.
Call Me Maybe was my jam when I was little. I made up this whole dance.
As another instance in which Victor continues to fumble over a workplace crush, the scene works. As a scene in which 2 coworkers bond over being silly goofballs, it feels awkward and forced. The New Yorker once used the phrase exquisite blankness to describe Queer Eye's Antoni Porowski, and I think the phrase is useful here as well to help contextualize George Sears' allure amongst the fandom and the limitation in his characterization of Benji so far. Just like in Stoplight Party, it's difficult to read anything from George Sears' tabula rasa of a performance, and that makes it difficult to make sense of Victor and Benji's budding relationship. Michael Cimino and George Sear display way more rapport and chemistry as the press-friendly versions of themselves in this cute Love, Victor promo.
What are you most grateful for?
The amazing friends I made out of this show. To be so honest, and that's not cheesy, not corny, it's just, I love you guys, you know? So.
Me too.
Of course, it appears this video was shot long after the 10 episodes they shot together, with Sear having the freedom to express his personality using his natural accent. Would Benji have come off as more accessible if they had just made the character British? Or is the stiltedness between Victor and Benji just a matter of these actors needing to get more comfortable with how they engage with the material and each other? Whatever lies at the root of this awkwardness, it's a bit of a bummer that the queerest relationship in this story so far is also the least developed. Still, their shared apprehension doesn't mar the rest of the episode because the exquisite blankness of Benji does work as a device to keep Victor guessing at his motivations. The enigmatic barista drops the biggest hint yet that he's got fighter jet feelings too when he's inspired to turn Victor's guilty pleasure song into a soulful, if pitchy, ballad for the ages. Story-wise, it's a delectable rom-com gag engineered to drive Benji shippers wild. Is Vic just seeing what he wants to see? Or is Benji madly in love with him and serenading him in public on the DL? The question is rendered null and void for now when the reveal of the century occurs and it turns out that the Sticky Beaks guitarist Derek is also Benji's boyfriend. The fighter jets come crashing to a halt, and Victor is left on the dance floor with his piddly little butterflies. So what's next for Victor? Join me for episode 4, The Truth Hurts, in which the basketball superstar just can't get his head in the game when his family runs into some serious technical fouls. And let us know in the comments, does a DJ really make music into more music? A, yes, Felix is a wordsmith and a sage, and we are blessed to receive his wisdom. B, no, this makes as much sense as Lake contaminating her makeup brush with a dead animal.
I gave the frog I was dissecting a smoky eye.
Or C, I'm confused, show us more rump shaking. Vote now!